Petunia Dursley found the baby at her doorstep in the morning when she went to put the milk bottles out. He was tucked against the doorstep in a moss's basket, bundled so thoroughly in blankets that for one lurking second she thought someone had left a parcel out there. And then the parcel shifted and made a soft sound, and this was the first time when she saw the face of the baby. She stood in the doorway in her dressing gown for a very long time. Then she picked up the envelope that was safety pinned to the blanket, and her name was written on it in a handwriting that she did not recognize at all. For Petunia Dursley. She brought the basket inside first and set it on the kitchen table. She put the kettle on and stood with her back to the counter looking at the sleeping child. And in the meantime the kettle built slowly to a boil. The baby had black hair that went in every direction at once. He had an injury mark on his forehead, and the mark looked raw and new, like something that had happened recently. Her hands were already shaking by the time she opened the letter. She read it standing up there on the kitchen table. She read it once, twice, then she folded it very precisely along its original creases and set it on the table. And she stood there in daze for a long time, that even the kettle started screaming. After a while, Vernon came down and he found her like that. He was still knotting his tie and already mentally rehearsing the morning commute. Petunia, the kettle. He stopped. He looked towards the basket. "What on earth is that?" he said, pointing towards the basket on the table. "It's Harry," she said. "Lily's boy." Her voice was strange, flat and careful. It was obvious that she was struggling with something internally. Vernon looked at the basket. He looked at Petunia. He crossed the kitchen and took the kettle off the heat himself. "And what is he doing here?" he asked calmly. She handed him the letter without saying a word. He read it while Petunia moved to the window with her arms crossed over her chest, looking at the garden, while the baby slept through all of it peacefully. Vernon set the letter down. "Petunia, I know. This says... I know what it says, Vernon. I have read it before." Vernon was quiet for a moment. Petunia could hear him turning it all over, not the magic which he would never fully accept. He stood there thinking about something, struggling inside, deciding on what to do in this situation. She also turned from the window and looked at him. After a while he spoke, a little defensively. "The study. It's the only free room. We would have to. There's all my filing in there, and there are the model trains. But we would have to clear it out and get a proper cut and all of that." Petunia looked at her husband for a very long time. Vernon, who was not a man built for ambiguity, who liked things straightforward and sensible. He had spent years with her, quietly baffled by everything adjacent to magic, and had never once pretended otherwise. And now Vernon was sitting at the kitchen table talking about clearing out the study. "That's the least thing we can do to repay for what she has done for us," Vernon said in a sad and serious tone. And then the memory came the way it always did, all at once, like stepping through a door. 3 years earlier, when Vernon had a meeting, and after that they had taken the scenic route because Vernon liked to drive, and Petunia wanted to see the sceneries, mountains and forests. The road passed through pine forest. It was very narrow and switchbacked. The environment was very calm and far from the noises of towns. Vernon had set the radio on low volume, while Petunia had her shoes off and her feet were on the dashboard. Then suddenly a whole group of deers burst from the tree line and across the road like they were fleeing from something. And Vernon had to stamp on the brakes hard enough that Petunia's feet came off the dashboard. The car skidded on loose gravel and came to a stop almost on the edge of the road. The headlights were pointing crookedly into the trees. "Good Lord," Vernon said. Then the thing came out of the forest. It was large, its knuckles were grazing the ground, and it was covered in grey-brown fur, matted dark in places, and its face, that was not a proper face. It was too long, it was too angular, filled with too many teeth. Then it turned its head towards the headlights, its eyes shining. Petunia screamed frighteningly, while Vernon shoved the car into reverse, but the back wheel had gone off the road, edge into a ditch. The car engine screamed, but it was stuck there. Then the creature moved towards them with a terrible patience and certainty that its prey would not escape. And then it hit the car with a large force. The windscreen of the car shattered inward, while Vernon threw himself across Petunia. Then the thing's claws raked the roof and peeled it back like it was tinfoil, letting the cold mountain air come in along with the moonlight. Then it growled slowly, completely inhuman, and Petunia had decided that it was the time where it ends. This is the place, this is how. And then suddenly something happened inside her chest. Suddenly her hands were full of cold white light. And then after a few seconds, a crack sounded in the air like a thunderbolt. And here she was, Lily, her sister. She was standing on the road between them and the werewolf. Her dark red hair was loose, and her feet were bare on the mountain road. And her wand was in her hand. It was already raised, burning with light, and pointed towards the creature. Lily did not look back at Petunia at all. She shouted, "Expecto Patronum!" And then a silver doe erupted from the tip of her wand, blazing and enormous, and it collided with the werewolf in a cascade of light that pushed it back. But the creature shook itself like a dog shedding water and came forward again. Its head was low. Its eyes were now fixed on Lily instead, while Lily moved sideways, drawing it away from the car and casting another spell. The spell hit Werewolf square in the chest, and it stumbled a little. But then it went down on one knee and surged upward with a sound that shook the trees. And it swiped at Lily with one massive arm. She tried to duck, but the thing caught her shoulder and spun her, throwing her hardly on the road gravel. "Lily!" Petunia screamed unconsciously. Lily scrambled off the wand. The werewolf was over her in 2 strides. She just rolled, snatched her wand, and fired a blast. The blast hit the creature's foreleg, and it reeled backward with a shriek. Lily's one arm was now hanging wrong. She was breathing in ragged pulls. The werewolf circled around them. It was still enormous and terrible, but now there was something different in his eyes. It seemed more cautious and was reassessing the situation, while all the time Lily tracked it with her wand. And then she casted some other spells that hit the monster in rapid succession. Out of nowhere, ropes of conjured binding snapped around the werewolf's limbs, and it crashed down onto the road, snapping its jaws. Now Lily moved back towards the car, keeping her wand trained on it, And the creature, after a long, snarling moment, seemed to make a calculation of its own. It twisted its body, wrenched one arm free, and lurked back towards the tree line. Then it was gone, swallowed by the dark between the pines. Lily lowered her wand. Her whole arm was shaking. Blood was dripping down her nightgown sleeves. And then Petunia got the courage and climbed out of the car. She crossed the road to her sister and stopped 2 feet away from Lily. Lily turned to look at her, and she was looking very pale in the moonlight. "I did not ask for your help," Petunia said. Her voice came out flat, while Lily all the time just looked at her. She did not seem surprised or wounded by it. She just looked tired. "I know you did not," she said. Her voice was quiet and unsteady. "I did not come because you asked." "Then why?" Petunia asked. "Because you are my sister, Petunia. You are my blood. It does not matter. It does not matter what you think of me. You were in danger, and I had to come." Lily pressed her good hand briefly to the center of her own chest and told Petunia, "Years ago I put a charm on you. It alarms me when you are in danger." Petunia's expression shifted towards a little anger. "So you were watching me the whole time?" Petunia said angrily. No, I was not watching you. I was not looking. I needed to know you were all right," Lily replied. "But you don't have to be grateful. You don't have to be anything. I just needed..." Lily stopped for a second before continuing. "We are sisters. Whether you want that or not, that is what we are. And I don't know how to be in the world and not know if you are safe." Then her voice completely gave out. She stood there in the moonlight on the mountain road, bleeding and exhausted. Petunia opened her mouth. She did not have the words. She had never had the words. In the past, whenever Lily came to her and tried to better their relationship, Petunia had always ignored her. She had always only felt jealousy and anger and hatred toward this sister of her. Petunia was still thinking of what to say when Lily's eyes went unfocused. "Oh," Lily said very softly, like something occurring to her, and then she simply passed out on the road. Petunia ran to her and sat down beside her, picking Lily's head in her lap and calling out her name and checking her pulse. And this is where we will leave this story for now. If you liked the story, subscribe, like and share my video.